too late for us to be proactive and for us to keep expecting, because we've asked. Now we need to expect some movement in regards to our legislature. So I have provided addresses, telephone numbers, and email addresses for Governor Patrick, Senate President Theresa Murray, House Speaker Robert DeLeo, Senator Tar, Representative Jones. And at least if every person in this room takes this piece of paper and is willing to share it with a friend and starts making phone calls tomorrow, sending emails, I actually listed 6 bullets that we can use as talking points so that we can be consistent in our ask or now our expectation. For example, increase Chapter 70 education aid under the Senate proposal, in parentheses, hold Chapter 70 harmless per Governor Patrick's commitment and President Obama's pledge. The second one is guaranteed proposed foundation budget of $850,000 to North Reading. Guaranteed, not hopeful, proposed. Relief from health care costs, give municipalities control to offer the best plan for employees in the town, or eliminate the union requirements to join the GIC. The other bullet, 4 stimulus funds to be made available ASAP without strings attached. The next bullet, fully fund state mandated special education circuit breaker requirement. And the last point is place a moratorium on out-of-district placement tuition rates for 2009 and 2010. So those are very specific bullets. You don't have to make it up. You don't have to feel uncomfortable. If you make that phone call and ask for those things, it has to be documented by every page or legislative aide that answers the phone. If you send this as an email or as a letter, letters actually work better. They are more noticed and recognized by legislators. So I'm going to encourage people to actually write the letter and send it under their own heading. But I do think that it is not too late. Much of what has to be determined should be coming from the state and not from our local municipality, local needs. So I'm going to ask everyone to be proactive and take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of us and not let these legislators off the hook. It's unacceptable, and shame on them.
I have a question, I guess, for you. So we basically will, before town meeting, decide if we have to make staff cuts at that time, depending on what our budget situation is at that time, correct? Because we're still not making any decisions tonight. We haven't made a decision.
Yeah, no one's making any motion, so.
I
Do you
just
want
want,
to schedule another meeting?
No.
we might be able to meet earlier before
Yeah, we just schedule another meeting.
town meetings.
Yeah, I'm not sure, if I want to walk into town meeting
We may have to meet next week.
and, yeah, put off a list of cuts and not give the community time to respond.
Kind of respond to what?
The action, so the cuts, the specific cuts. So they should just anticipate them.
It's up to
I'm
us
voting
make
to
those
transfer
cuts.
money from somewhere, I'm not cutting $500,000.
My concern is we won't have any more information next week to make any more decisions. So I guess at some point we do have to make, because right now we have, $752,000 deficit that is unaccounted for.
Well, it depends on what your revenue figure is. I think, why don't we schedule a meeting for 5 or 5:30 prior to town meeting, so we have time to sit down. It's obviously, it's the last available moment to know what our revenue figures are going to be.
You want to do that?
And potentially, I'm being a little overly optimistic, but potentially we may have some more answers on the collective action.
Yeah, maybe Friday. Bob, we maybe
Next
Friday
Friday?
morning?
So we need Friday,
Friday morning, I did.
Board of Selectmen meeting Monday the 8th, Monday the 1st, and on the 8th.
I'd rather take the time before time.
I would too, because then we'll have the best chance of having further information. So
Our last one.
Yep.
maybe we should meet at 5, David, if we can, before town meeting.
Yeah, we post, fine.
Yeah, will you please, will you have, oh, make cupcakes? Do you like, oh, wait, no, you can't, the superintendent might not allow them in the building.
Bring them.
We'll talk to Anna about
We'll be
having.
gluten-free, okay?
Okay, so 5 o'clock?
Yeah, on the 8th.
Laurie Massey, yes.
Max?
I just had a question. Can you make available on the school website the level 2 cuts as grouped into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3? It's very important for people to know, to come to town meeting. Of course, I encourage everyone to come to town meeting, but to come with the expectation of knowing what's on the table and to be able to give some thought and ask some questions before knowing
If
whether.
they really upset you, Marcy, they're superintendent's not out, right?
I think what we'll do is.
Well, that's fine,
list
that's
them.
fine. I mean, it gives folks
Give us
an
something.
idea, though, of, it can move around, but what's on the list.
We
and-
asked them to do this, we asked them to prioritize, so
Yeah.
we know
Yeah.
the levels we pass out, we asked them to prioritize, and he's done a good job of it.
But we can't hear that for the first time on town meeting floor.
No, but I think what we could do is, because they've been made public, is the level 2 cuts, but I don't know if we want to break them into the priorities, because they aren't the school committee's priority.
Well,
We have
do
not
they-
taken
Do the level
position.
2 cuts stand currently somewhere on the school department website?
I think you can put the level 2 cuts up there, without the,
I think you need to notify those staff members first. wouldn't
That's a
you?
different story. I would
Okay.
have to do that,
You would have to.
in fairness. I'd have to do it tomorrow.
Well, I think that's another good reason for, and these are potentially cuts we're gonna have to make, so at some point in time we should.
I'm not trying to put you in a difficult position.
No.
It's very hard.
Oh, no, it's not
People
the- it's
need
not-
information.
An unwillingness to share. We also have the question about if we send off layoff notices and people start to collect before the new fiscal year, do we have the unemployment funds available and
can't collect until September.
until July 1?
Right.
Yeah, we had some questions at our last meeting around when to notify and who to notify. So why don't we make the level 2 cuts known, but not broken down into the three
But I think
tiers?
David's issue is if we make those known, he has to notify those individuals if we put those on the website.
They've been there before, they've been handed out before, I just.
Right.
We
That's
don't
true.
want to
We did hand them
I
out.
don't have a problem with it, I mean, I think.
I don't either.
We'll get something to you.
Yeah, we
In
did.
fact, I think it's very important that it gets out as
We're
soon
just
as
trying to
possible.
think of how, what form it will appear in, and we don't need to
I think it
do
should be
that
on the
right now.
website, though. I think
Yeah.
I think it definitely should be on the
Yeah.
website.
All of them,
Yeah,
yes,
the
but
whole-
including the athletic.
All of it.
Yeah.
Everything.
As it
Everything
stood
in
at
level
April,
two.
not broken down into tiers.
Right.
I'd like to see what you know.
He's right here.
Yes, in that format,
Right.
8 by 12.
In that 5, David, in that memo, that's just 512. You've got them all right here. So-
In that format.
And I would position it as these are the cuts being considered, because it's more than we need to cut right now. In the worst case, we need to cut $751,000, and this is $1 million.
Right.
So I would position it as these are the cuts that are being considered.
In no priority order, and with none of them were 14.
No.
And are you gonna take a position yourselves sometime between now and,
We're going to meet 5 o'clock.
so that's gonna be
Before the town
done
meeting.
on the night of town meeting?
Yeah, because I think our idea here is that the longer we wait, the better idea we'll have of what our revenues are. I mean, we could meet next week, make a decision, and then we find out we have either $300,000 less or $300,000 more.
Well, I guess my question more is your prioritization levels, and so you go into that knowing, okay, here's what the numbers, boom.
Mhm.
You almost have a formula as to what those cuts would be.
Right.
You decided yourselves
We
what your
have it.
priority.
We haven't, as a committee, discussed the priorities that David presented.
Other than to say, teachers are the last.
Right, we did direct him that classroom teachers would be the last. Although that isn't really fair, because losing your curriculum
Right.
leadership will impact every classroom, at every level. So, I don't want to make it sound like there's the cuts that won't impact education and there are classroom teachers that do. They all work together. Level 2 is significant.
And I think from my point of view, and I know the committees and also David and Carl's, what we've been trying to avoid is laying out cuts. So David has to start notifying teachers, and then maybe 8 weeks later, we have to notify teachers that they're coming back, and these teachers may be out looking for, I think we've been trying to get a better handle on revenues before and we obviously don't, so, and haven't gotten a better handle.
I just, putting that, I can understand why it would be of interest to put those out there, but I think it's also important to understand that from the principal's perspective, just decisions about who a child's elementary classroom teacher is going to be next year, which is traditionally what we do and announce, to scheduling at the high school, because a number of these positions are high school positions. middle school positions, how the day was run. All of that will put into motion.
The schedules are already written.
I can't see that it would be, none of that information would be available then before the end of the school year.
No, they would just be more generic, right? It's 4 high school, 2 elementary, 3 elementary, 2 middle school, 1 librarian,
Now you don't have to post.
right?
I mean, how's it more harmful to put out now than to wait till?
I have, when I was going to put in the paper anyway.
Yeah. Right,
Listen, January,
yeah.
you're saying that the school personnel have not been made aware of these potential cuts?
Not the individuals that would be impacted.
But if you're the only technology integration teacher, then
Right.
you know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
I mean,
In those
some of them are
cases,
right.
Yeah, in those cases, but in the general cases where 4 high school teachers.
And we're not, I'm not asking for specific, I'm asking for an update of this list with the number so it's current. 4 high school teachers, 1 accredited librarian.
math or science,
No.
right?
Not at all.
I think, you know what, that's,
I think we should do that.
Well, it seems more responsible to reduce the certainty of the individual's part anyway.
Right.
If they know this is coming, this is just gonna give them a little more information about who they are, so they can do their own planning. I don't have a problem with it.
And again, they should be positioned as potential.
Yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, we've waited to June in the hopes of, something coming our way to take us out of this problem, but it's not. So it's time to deal with the reality. Yeah. So is there any other question?
Maureen, there's a comment I want to make. You had asked a question last financial team meeting, and, Jeff asked a question about what's going on the town side with respect to employee reductions.
Right.
And in the budget, in the budget as it stands right now, there's reductions in the building department assistants' hours. There's reductions in the amount of library hours open, from 45 to 35 a week. There's a assessor is being maintained at 20 hours instead of a full-time assessor. And there is, in the DPW, a position that is most likely going to be retired, that's not going to be replaced. If not, there'll be a layoff for that. And there are 3 positions currently unstaffed that we have a hiring freeze on pending what happens going forward. IT, GIS, which is tied also in with the Community Planning Commission, and the police office. And by the way, that is actually this police officer we lost, that we organized, so there are really 2.
We're still trying to brainstorm on ways to get to that energy emergency fund funding. We haven't come up with any yet, but we're still working on it. We thought, I actually said, why don't we undercut our budget and then go for a transfer? I'll think of something else. So on Friday, we are meeting with the finance planning team, and actually the second Friday, again, before town meeting. Did we schedule one for June 3rd, Friday before town meeting?
No.
No,
Just the one.
let's see what happens on Friday.
All right. And if you have any other questions or comments, you know how to reach each one of us through our phone numbers or our emails, and we'll be more than happy to respond and give you what you need to get the word out or answer any questions or concerns you might have. So, sorry, we're leaving the public hearing with a deficit and a budget that's not resolved. But we'll do our best in the next 2 weeks. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you.
That's good choice.
Oh, yeah, school choice.
Is that the last thing?
Thank you, Deanna.